Broadcast Row for the now generation. And now a special presentation from Broadcast Row. Broadcasting live from the greatest city in the world. Wake up. It's time, people, for your morning online gathering. Hosted by Mardel. It's the Wrestling Morning Show, and it starts now.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's 9:01 Eastern Standard Time, and it's time to begin the show. I'm Mardel. I'm your host. The phone number is 844-627-3352. That's 844-627-3352. Follow us on Twitter at Live Morning Show. I'm Mardel Brennan. You can follow me at Mardel Brennan. We're streaming live on Twitter and Facebook. Facebook is at The Wrestling Morning Show. Of course, all information on thewrestlingmorningshow.com. Okay, well, the biggest news coming into Monday Night Raw was Brock Lesnar in a house show with Samoa Joe. And, of course, Jon Jones calling him out. Calling him out after he beat Daniel Cormier this past weekend. And as a surprise to a lot of people, lo and behold, who was there on Monday Night Raw in Pittsburgh, a hot crowd on that July 31st last night. Let's go ahead and refresh your memory from 12 hours ago.
What a show for our general manager, Kurt Angle. He has in store tonight again.
Well, Angle comes out, opens the show, and says it was 21 years ago today that he won the gold medal, and the place popped. And obviously, Kurt is from Pittsburgh. Got a great reception from the crowd. On a great surprise, we see Brock come out with Mr. Paul Heyman. Pittsburgh is a hot crowd. They didn't disappoint. They were a little stunned, I'm sure, by that final hour of events. But a pretty solid show thus far.
Not be happy about that fact. Brock's got something to say, guys. And I can't wait to hear it. It's a fatal four-way match. Brock Lesnar does not have to be defeated to lose the Universal Championship. Yeah, great point, Corey.
We want to hear from you guys. All you have to do is push play on Twitter or Facebook. Stream live from thewrestlingmorningshow.com. Download the app in iTunes or Google Play.
No champion's advantage for Lesnar.
Phone number is 844-627-3352.
I know what you're doing. I figured out the scam. I understand the strategy. I see the angle that you're playing here. You want to, you need to, you have to take the Universal title off of Brock Lesnar. Why else? Tell me, please, I beg of you, why else would you put my client in a fatal four-way at SummerSlam? And not just any fatal four-way, oh no, against the single most stacked heavyweight division in WWE history. Think about it, okay? First, there's Braun Strowman. The sheer size and strength and speed of this monster among men, any other time in history would be, could be, should be the Universal Champion. Oh, and then there's the Undertaker slaying Roman Reigns. Born to be champion, bred to be champion, groomed to be champion, and I bet Mr. Angle in your mind, ready to be Universal Champion. And then there's that Samoan disgrace, that oh, I get it. You're hoping the new champion at SummerSlam is Samoa Joe. Because that would stick it to Brock Lesnar the most. And I get why you're doing this. I respect what you're doing. I half-ass admire it, Mr. Angle. You have a board of directors to answer to. You have a demanding chairman who says to you at all costs, protect the Raw brand, including and especially now getting the title off of Brock Lesnar to the point where in this fatal four-way match, I know what's going to happen. All three of these title-worthy contenders are going to gang up on Brock Lesnar to where even a beast can't survive, and then they're going to fight it out amongst themselves to determine the new champion, just like they'll do tonight, except at SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar doesn't even need to be in the pinfall or submission equation to lose the championship. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't we just rename this SummerSlam 2017, Brock Lesnar loses the Universal title. Because, sir, respectfully, you've been told to make Brock Lesnar pay the ultimate price, haven't you? So,
subtly mentioning it.
Boils down to this. If Brock Lesnar loses the Universal Championship at SummerSlam, he leaves WWE. And I'm leaving with him because, Kurt Angle, here comes a piece of news that you're not going to like. My client, Brock Lesnar, will not lose his title, his Universal Championship at SummerSlam. Not to the unstoppable Braun Strowman, not to the Undertaker retiring Roman Reigns, not to the cheap shot artist Samoa Joe. Because at the end of the night, there will be an announcement at WWE SummerSlam. And that announcement will be, ladies and gentlemen, your winner and still reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar.
A very bold and confident statement from Paul Heyman tonight. Bold was an understatement, but you look in the eyes of the beast incarnate, there was no fear, no doubt. Brock Lesnar is hell-bent on...
So you have arguably going into Monday Night Raw, the hottest superstar, and he comes out. And what a great surprise it was. So I tell you what, the main event, as we all know, is Braun, Samoa Joe, and Roman Reigns. Okay. So I'll give you that. Yeah, well, that was an awesome opening in Pittsburgh. And we already have a couple things lined up. We know we have Jason Jordan coming out on Miz TV, but it opens up with the first match, the Hardys versus Gallows and Anderson. The Revival comes out to commentary. Okay, it was a pretty hard-fought, but very quick situation. Everyone is still talking. Will we see the broken characters of Matt and Jeff? Sure. They'll still be a tag team. Please don't let it fool you that they're going to split up. They're not going to. At any point, I say give it a year, or at least till WrestleMania. Doesn't make sense. What they're doing now is all eyes on them. Now they get to work with Gallows and Anderson, the Revival, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to have a number one contenders match at SummerSlam. Once again, forcing everyone to wrestle with each other. There's going to be a lot of triple threat matches. We already have a fatal four-way. And I only imagine it's going to be Hardy Boys versus Gallows and Anderson versus the Revival. Elevating Gallows and Anderson, elevating the Revival. Gallows and Anderson have now become those enhancement guys that we root for and we kind of find pretty cool. We know their history and we know their backstory. Still lost in the shuffle. At least there's some excitement when they're against the Hardy Boys. So there's a swanton on Gallows for the pin, and the Hardys go over. But then, as the Hardys go up the ramp, Revival, Gallows, Anderson, they all get tagged, and then everybody kind of gets into it. So Raw moves on. Renee interviews her husband, Dean, and then Seth comes out backstage. Still don't know where they're going in this direction. I do have a prediction coming up between Dean, between Seth. I'll just go ahead and tell you because I'm curious what you guys think. I think it's going to be Dean and Seth and Jason Jordan. First, the Miztourage. I do believe so. So I think we're going to have everyone clamor together once again, forcing everything into SummerSlam. I think SmackDown tonight will obviously give a pretty good indication what else is going on for SummerSlam, as we are less than 3 weeks away. Okay, now we move on to the Cruiserweights at 205. And this is what I find very interesting. If you're out there listening, first of all, join the program, 844-627-3352. On the show, I've been very critical of 205 Live. I've been very critical about the Cruiserweights. And nothing to do with the talent. Nothing to do with so much their characters or their gimmicks. Extremely talented people in this division, and we've seen them. And granted, it's been mostly the same individuals in these matches. We've seen some of the women play a part in some of the storylines. Alicia Fox, Sasha Banks. Now we see the Titus Worldwide, Titus brand getting involved. But I have to say, for the first time, I was thoroughly excited to watch this match. And it's not your typical one-on-one. This was 3-on-3. And probably one of the more exciting matches that I've seen from the 205 and the Cruiserweights in a very long time. You had Rich Swann. You had Alexander Tozawa. Took on Nice, TJP, and Daivari. This is one of the best showcases I've seen in a long time. Everyone looked phenomenal. Swann, Alexander, Tozawa, they go over. Tozawa goes for the pin and wins. And this was definitely a step in the right direction. You obviously noticed the ropes, the colors, stayed to the Raw brand. Possibly because it's taken too much time. Possibly no one cares. It's not that big of a deal. I've also mentioned many times on the show, maybe they just rebrand or delete, for a better word, the Cruiserweights. Because I just didn't feel they were getting over. Now, Neville performing the very best he's ever performed his entire career. I have to give him that. And I was still upset about Austin Aries leaving. Still don't know the right answer. Did he ask for the release? Did they release him? I don't know if we'll find out. Okay, so we move right along now. Anytime there's a Miz TV, and this is the top of the hour Miz TV too, by the way. One thing I do want to play for you, though. We do have Jason Jordan's new music.
After becoming the newest superstar on Monday Night Raw, winning his debut match.
Loving the Miztourage.
For a fact, Jason Jordan felt like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders, but he is well equipped, well prepared to become a next level.
Bo Dallas was a huge talk on Twitter last night. Love to see Bo Dallas. Love to see Curtis Axel. I like what they're doing. And here we go. Let's take a listen.
Jason Jordan, ladies and gentlemen. You know, your story reads like a movie of the week. I mean, you find out that you're adopted and that Kurt Angle, an Olympic hero, your hero, is your biological father. How have you felt these past few weeks?
Well, as you could imagine, it's been emotional.
And how does it feel that these people, some of them, have been booing you? I mean, they don't like me, and now they're booing you.
You know what, Miz? They're going to boo. They're going to cheer. They're going to do whatever they want, and that's cool. But you and I both know that when it comes to boos, You're the expert on that, aren't you?
No, is that how you want to play it? You know, you use the word expert, and you're right. When it comes to Monday Night Raw, I am indeed an expert. And last week, you had a debut match, and you were impressive. And some people are wondering why you're getting opportunities so quickly. I am not one of them. You know, it's not how you get to where you are, it's where you're going. And you, sir, you are going places. Your in-ring ability is amazing. The comparisons to your father are uncanny. That is why I want to offer you a proposition. Let me guide your career. When my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. I am offering you an opportunity of a lifetime. I'm offering you an opportunity to join the Miztourage.
You know what? Thanks, but I'm good.
You're good. Do you understand how much wisdom I have to share? I've done it all. TV, movies. I've main evented WrestleMania. Understand that when you main event WrestleMania, you are bigger than every single person in that locker room. And in that locker room, there are vultures that are going to try to leech off your newfound lineage. I can help you navigate through these shark-infested waters. I can make you access right here on Monday Night Raw, inside and outside the ring. You need my help.
You know what? That's a really tempting offer, and I appreciate it. But I think I'm gonna pass.
Of course. Why would you need the help of an Intercontinental Champion when Dad's the general manager and can hand you everything you want?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Nobody ever said anything about being handed anything. You know what? I talked with Kurt, and I told him I didn't want any preferential treatment. So anything that I achieve is gonna be because I earned it, not because I was handed anything.
No, it's not because I was handed anything. You are so naive. Saying all the right things because you think my dad's an American hero and I have to do everything the right way. Don't be foolish. Don't be short-sighted. I don't care who your father is. This company, this place will chew you up and spit you out.
You know what? Maybe it will. But I'd rather be chewed up and spit out than have any type of success being associated with someone like you.
Someone like me, a success, a champion, or someone like you who has to latch on to a different Olympian each and every week. Or maybe like your father, who's a washed-up old jock who got his job out of pity, who's been way over his head, making bad decision after bad decision. I mean, this is your hero. That man threw away years, the best years of his life, left a string of shattered dreams and broken promises. It is no wonder that he is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Because he is a lot like this town. Sad, broken down, and pining for glory days that are never, never coming back.
You know what, Miz? You can say what you want about me, but if you say one more word about Kurt, I'm gonna make you regret it.
Oh, look at Jordan. And Miz for the ride into the entourage. The Miztourage. They're flattened, whatever you want to call them, Cole.
All right, so, okay, how do you feel about that? That was interesting, to say the least. Okay, it was good to have him at the top of the hour, Jason Jordan. Everyone's buzzing about it. He trends every time he is on Raw. We've never doubted his ability. He's phenomenal in the ring. Just a natural athlete. He's got the look. He's got the look where they can market, sell some T-shirts. On the microphone, it's a struggle. He's not as natural. Now, okay, maybe it's an interview style, it's a calm demeanor. He did a phenomenal job trying to sell the father aspect with Kurt Angle. If you guys remember, he had that interview with Renee Young, and that wasn't bad at all. So how do we take him another level? It's going to go a couple ways with Jason Jordan. I think we all know it. One, he's going to succeed as one of the top baby faces in the company, now getting all these golden opportunities. Or, as I kind of made a point, slightly resembles the Rocky Maivia story. This blue chipper, this goody two-shoes who came out, and obviously the crowd just continued to boo him. Either way you look at it, it's a win-win for Jason Jordan. He goes on and becomes one of the top heels. Awesome. He goes on to become one of the top faces. That's awesome. It's a win-win for Jason Jordan, no matter how you play it. But a couple things. Let's get him stronger on that microphone, which they did not do. Let's give him even better inside the ring. This is a whole new realm for Jason Jordan, being a singles competitor. Let's see how this goes. Unfortunately, I think what's going to happen, well, fortunately, unfortunately, I think he's going to be the third man with Ambrose and Rollins. And they're going to take on the Miztourage, and that's going to be SummerSlam, which is fine. You know, and as there's one of two ways things are going down when it goes down in the WWE. It's either spur of the moment, let's make these changes when it comes to gimmicks and storylines. I don't believe this is the direction it went with Jason Jordan. I think this was obviously a lot more calculated. You would think they would work with him to make him the very best he can be on that microphone. And they continue to work with him. If you happen to be on Twitter, it's a live morning show. And last night I asked a lot of poll questions, and one of them had to do with, well, I would say inspired by Jason Jordan's microphone abilities. We'll get to them. But some of these polls, you still have a couple hours to go ahead and vote. And I hope you do so. So backstage, we see Sheamus and Cesaro confront Seth Rollins. And I kind of enjoyed it. It was very funny on both their parts. You obviously, when I mentioned earlier about what the situation could be with Sheamus and Cesaro, it's going to go possibly in another direction. It could be Sheamus, Cesaro versus Seth and Ambrose. Or we could see the Miztourage with Jason Jordan, Seth, and Ambrose. And I guess we'll find out legitimately the answer next week. But wouldn't that be a shame if Sheamus and Cesaro are not on SummerSlam? Or they're forced into a match? Or it's a four-way tag? Seth Rollins has the new Burn It Down implemented into his theme song. It's not bad. Now, so Sheamus and Rollins, they face off. This is the third match. We have the third match underway. And they look good and they look strong. It's a very quick match, to be honest. Seth rolls up and gets the win. So now we have Cesaro coming out. There's a beatdown on Seth. Crowd is chanting for Ambrose. It takes a long while, then he finally arrives. But Sheamus and Cesaro take out Dean and Seth. So there you go. That's after match number 3. So we're going to take a small break. We're going to come back. Our commercial's not very long. Obviously, it's the number is 844-627-3352. That's the number. Also, you can join us on Twitter at Live Morning Show. I'm Mardel Brennan. Facebook is The Wrestling Morning Show. The website is thewrestlingmorningshow.com. You can download the apps, iTunes, Google Play. Listen to it in your car if you want. We'll be right back on The Wrestling Morning Show. Okay, so we're back. It's 9:27 Eastern Standard Time. Join the conversation. It's 844-627-3352. That is 844-627-3352. Quickly, we went over Monday Night Raw. With the exception of Brock coming out, I enjoy Jason Jordan on Miz TV. Totally put over the 205 Live, which I normally don't do. And then we had Sheamus versus Seth Rollins. Now we have something very cool, and this is 9:30 Eastern. It's Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt comes out. Now, I've been a little bit critical and kind of slightly bewildered, to be honest with you. The last couple weeks on some of the things he's been saying, no fault to his own. For months, he's actually been clear and concise. That wasn't the case. But, as we all hoped for, as we talked about weeks on the show, I think we're going to see the demon. Finally, the demon Finn Balor. The Finn Balor that we kind of get excited for. The Finn Balor that not only that will sell merchandise, will sell tickets. That's the Finn Balor we may see. The God versus the demon. I'm excited for it. Not only that, he surprises Bray inside the ring out of nowhere with his back turned on him. Very demon-like. So I assume we'll see how this unfolds very, very soon. And that was at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as it's almost going to be 9:30 Eastern Standard Time as you listen to the show. If you're in the West Coast, you're either waking up or getting ready to start your day, so have a good day out there. We do the show every Tuesday and Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. If you're listening right now live. You could text or call. It's the same number. Call line, text line, same number, 844-627-3352. The show is created for you guys. You must remember. All I do is pretty much captain the ship. You guys are definitely aboard for the ride. Enough with these stupid cliches. So now we go on in a surprise turn, the main event. The main event, this is the fourth match. Now this concludes right now at about 9:50. Samoa Joe versus Roman versus Braun. And the crowd is behind this. Yes, Pittsburgh, you haven't let us down yet. You guys might have been surprised this was the top of the hour matchup. It started 10 minutes till the hour. Trying to get those ratings, and we completely understand. The crowd was behind Braun. It had a pay-per-view feel to it. Now, outside the ring, it was brutal. It was fun. Even chance of this is awesome. Not bad. We finally get to see the physical matchup. We saw Brock Lesnar early in the show. I wish Brock would have been at ringside. I wish Brock would have came back. Let's size them all up, all four of them. How they look inside the ring. But it was great to see. We're having 1,200, 1,300 pounds of muscle come Summerslam inside the ring. Everyone looked great. For the first time I can remember, Braun was hitting the floor more times than not. Which it's one thing that I am proud that they do is they don't show too much weakness on Braun's part. And only though once or twice he's ever lost, he could get a little technical on how he lost. Outside the ring was very fun, as we mentioned. Inside the ring was very fun. They could have gone at Roman a lot more. They did not. Definitely were a lot of boos, don't get me wrong. Everyone had their moment to showcase. Every one of these competitors looked very strong. Most of the strength was outside the ring, as I mentioned earlier. But in the finale, Roman spears Samoa Joe and gets the pin. This is one of the few matches right now that is solidified and I'm excited about. Lesnar, Roman, Samoa Joe, Braun, fatal four-way for the Universal Championship. This should be the main event, hands down, even though they have a lot more matches to book for SummerSlam. Curious what your take is on this whole thing. We do have some of our Twitter polls that are up right now on our Twitter page. Our handle is Live Morning Show. The number is 844-627-3352. I think with now one thing we thought about with the whole MMA world talking about Jon Jones, talking about the fact he called out Brock Lesnar. Actually, you know, we have an audio clip, so let's go ahead and play an audio clip. This is Jon Jones after he beat Daniel Cormier this Saturday.
Jon Jones with
Brock Lesnar. If you want to know what it feels like to get your ass kicked by a guy who weighs 40 pounds less than you, meet me in the octagon.
Okay, so there you go. That's Jon Jones. Meet me in the octagon if you want to know how that feels like getting your ass kicked by somebody who's 40 pounds lighter than you. Well, a couple things. Jon Jones was asked repeatedly this weekend, why did he call him out? And simply just said it was for the money. He's seeing everybody get these major fights, these opportunities, and the super fight. Now, Brock Lesnar, inactive, retiring, whatever you want to call him, picks and chooses when he wants to come back. Not even ranked. And so, of course, Jon Jones gets a lot of backlash from real hardcore UFC MMA fans. I've been waiting. Why does he get an opportunity? Well, first of all, you don't want to deny anybody money. Are you telling me if this actually took place, if this would be one of the biggest fights in UFC history, which UFC needs another major fight? Now, granted, McGregor, Mayweather, UFC will have a lot of eyes on them. They have a lot of eyes on them now. And, of course, after the fight is over, no one expects McGregor to retire, even though he'll be set for life after this match. And that's what Jon Jones ultimately just said, truly being honest. Look, he lost a lot of time. It's time for him to make some money. And this would be a major marquee. It'd be a super fight in the UFC. Now, would Jon Jones try to gain weight? Would it just be a special promotion? There's going to be a lot of money involved, and I don't think Brock will turn it down. And definitely Jon Jones is not going to turn it down. And I think there's a lot more intrigue from the casual fans, obviously the wrestling fans, that may want to see this. Now, Brock Lesnar's only response is, be careful what you wish for. I mean, unless there's a stunner and they want to stun us, which they may want to. You have to realize that we can only imagine Brock drops the belt at SummerSlam. Okay, that frees up Brock Lesnar. But that's Brock Lesnar. Now, if you're a hardcore wrestling fan, you're going to miss Brock Lesnar. How does the tone change if he drops the belt? What type of character are we dealing with? I assume this match would happen at some point. Jon Jones, Brock Lesnar. But let's move on. Nothing has been confirmed. So I tell you what, we're going to take a small break right now. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the final 3 matches on Monday Night Raw. Hopefully you join this conversation with us. It's the Wrestling Morning Show. We'll be back very soon. Call us, 844-627-3352. Talking about Elias Sampson, talking about the women's division, Bayley, Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss. And, of course, the main event. Big show, big cast, and a whole lot more. Also, Koru joins us. Code Rock 874. Brett Coder join us in the next hour.
Now back to the Wrestling Morning Show.
Okay, so we're back. It's 9:40 Eastern Standard Time. Join the conversation, 844-627-3352. So many things to talk about. We got Brent Coder coming up in the next hour. We've already gone through halfway through Monday Night Raw. Given my commentary, given my thoughts, I'm curious what you guys think. That's the most important thing as we do the show. We do the show every Tuesday, every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. The number is the same, 844-627-3352. That's our call line and text line. I'm Mardel. I'm your host. You can find me at Mardel Brennan on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is Live Morning Show. Facebook, The Wrestling Morning Show. The website, TheWrestlingMorningShow.com. Now, after the show goes off the air, you can find it everywhere. Find it in podcast form, in iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Our hub is Spreaker, where our entire on-demand is located. So a lot of great places to listen to the program. So now, the main event was concluded. Roman goes over. They dropped Sampson. And when I mean drop, they dropped the last name. Now it's just Elias. Let's go and listen to this. This is actually pretty awesome. Listen to for the pop after he asks who wants to walk with him.
Hello, I am Elias. And I have one question for everybody here tonight. Who wants to walk with Elias? Well, you know, last week I laid Finn Balor's soul to rest. And now I'm here in the place I grew up, Pittsburgh, PA. You know, I can remember sitting outside PNC Park on the hill and playing guitar and just looking out and seeing the sights. Mount Washington and the Monongahela River. But the thing that stands out to me the most are the people. It's the people of Pittsburgh that have inspired me to write this song. Pittsburgh. It's the city of bridges. But it's really the city of pits. This place has no hope, not when its team is the Pirates. Man, I'm back in Pittsburgh. What a terrible choice. The people here are truly garbage. But at least you can hear my voice. Oh, Pittsburgh, what have I done to you?
place gets worse every single time, and I swear it's true.
I mean, he's better than Pittsburgh's own Joe Grishecki.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It was kind of, what? Kalisto? I was enjoying this. That was awesome. First of all, they dropped Samson. Samson, the name itself, obviously, but Elias Samson, easy to chant if it comes to that point. But Elias is a very unique, great name. And now he's going with it. Elias looked very good. Looked great against Kalisto and gets the pin. So let's move on to the sixth match, Bayley versus Nia Jax. Bayley looked very good early. Very good early. We kind of seeing a lot of repetitive matches and angles in the women's division. It's just on again, off again. Friendship as well with Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. We haven't really seen Alexa really speak in the ring in a very long time. I'm sure that's going to be changing soon, as there already is a build-up between her and Bayley. And, of course, they're going to square off at SummerSlam for the Raw's Women's Championship. Now, a lot of this action took place outside the ring. And out of nowhere, Alexa comes down, attacks Bayley. But it's a count out on Nia Jax. Obviously, Bayley wins. Beat down on Bayley. We don't see Sasha Banks at all. Could this be the time where Sasha finally goes back to a stronger character? What I mean by a stronger character, when she was a heel. I think there's nothing for her to do. It's a little played out. Now, I have to mention this about Bayley. Bayley is over through her gimmick, a phenomenal gimmick. She is a good girl that does the right things. And she's a hugger. And she's an underdog. She's a wrestling fan since she was a kid. That's what's gotten her over, her gimmick. She needs to be stronger inside the ring. Definitely needs to be stronger on that microphone to be that top-notch talent. The same goes with Sasha Banks. Sasha's phenomenal in that ring. Stronger with the gimmick, stronger with the mic ability. Now, somebody who's gotten over lightning quick has been Alexa Bliss. And that is all solely on the gimmick and the microphone. It still has a lot of weakness inside the ring. A stronger gimmick for Sasha could be the fact that maybe she becomes that boss again that we all kind of liked and appreciated in NXT. Maybe we see that. It's not the worst thing in the world. But Bayley goes over on a count out with Nia Jax. I do believe at SummerSlam we're going to see some shenanigans take place. Sasha will be involved. Obviously, Nia Jax will be involved. And maybe a turn. We'll see. They want people talking after SummerSlam, but more importantly, they want people watching SummerSlam. So we go to the main event of the night. Now, the real main event took place at 9:50. This is almost 11 o'clock at night. Big Show versus Big Cass. Enzo enters and opens. Okay, first of all, Enzo is tremendous on the microphone. As good as it gets right now with that roster. It's got to evolve. It's the same thing, and it's not getting that much of a reaction anymore. I'm so upset they're even doing this. The weeks ago, when this all went down with the betrayal of Big Cass, okay, I thought one of two things. There'd be a build-up between Cass and Enzo, and they'd square off in their hometown. They would not touch each other. But quickly, there was the main event. There was Great Balls of Fire. They faced off. They faced off on Raw before. So there we go. Big Cass, Enzo, that's done. I don't think they'll wrestle again. So Big Show comes into play, 7 foot tall. 2 7-footers. We don't get to see that often. 2 7-footers are good go. So now that's the rivalry. Now, I wish they would have once again saved something for Big Cass at SummerSlam, but they didn't. We know this is probably going to take place at SummerSlam. We know we're not going to care about it because we've seen this. This could be possibly a kickoff show again or a throwaway squash of some sorts. I understand they're trying to get Big Cass over, and inside the ring they did. Cass looked tough. He looked great. It was a very quick match. Enzo jumps in, gets on top of Cass, gets disqualified. So now they rumble inside the ring. Now Big Show's involved. Big Show knocks out Cass. But still Big Show shaken up. Kind of just a really anticlimactic ending to Monday Night Raw. Wish they wouldn't have gone in that direction. But they did. I wouldn't mind seeing anything but this to end the show, but the only good thing when you do a radio morning show and you're taking notes and you're trying to get everything ready, at least I didn't miss anything. At least I'm not scrambling to prep after the show. So that's how it took place. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. Quick review, recap, my thoughts on Monday Night Raw. Now, coming up on the show, we got Coder and the Code Break. Be part of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to the show. We make it so easy for you guys. Not to mention you call, text 844-627-3352. We'll take a small break, do some more recapping, and of course we got Coder on the program coming up momentarily. So be a part of the show. Dial the number 844-627-3352. Send a text message if you want. More importantly, just listen to the program. Apps are available, streaming everywhere. You want to be sneaky about it? TheWrestlingMorningShow.com. You can stream from there. Or just stream straight from Twitter and Facebook. It's 10:14 Eastern Standard Time. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Wrestling Morning Show. I am your host, Mardel. We had a lot to talk about in the first hour. We have a lot to talk about in the second hour. We're going to be joined by Coder in a matter of moments. Hopefully you found us well here on Twitter, streaming on Facebook, also thewrestlingmorningshow.com. Easiest way is to download the app and listen. You can listen on the go, listen in the car, listen at work. Public transportation, of course. No one talks to anybody on the train or the bus. Listen to the show. Tonight I'm getting excited for SmackDown. They really need to bounce back and have a better show. They had a great main event last week. This week, Nakamura, Cena, pay-per-view, feel, vibe. It should be at least. 2 massive stars in the ring together. I do believe Cena goes over, faces Jinder. I could be wrong. This has been a summer that has been unpredictable, to say the least. We also got some wrestling news coming up. That will be in the last 15 minutes of the program. We're going to take a small break. Call, text the show. It's the same number, 844-627-3352. When we get back, time for the Code Break. He's on the line right now. Let's give him his own intro music.
It's the Code Break with Brent Coder.
Coder, good morning to you. Thank you for joining the show. One of our contributors. How are you, Coder?
I'm good, man. Good morning to you, brother.
Okay, let's move right into it. Monday Night Raw last night in Pittsburgh. I mentioned earlier how hot that crowd was in Pittsburgh. Angle opens his hometown, and 21 years ago, he won the gold medal. Place gives him a great response, and then Brock Lesnar comes out. Brock Lesnar comes out, and it was an excitement in the air. It was a far cry from what's happened in the last couple of weeks on Monday Night Raw. And then Paul grabs the mic, and only as Paul does, excites the crowd, puts Brock Lesnar over, and teases that he has ultimate options, heavy lying on ultimate. We know the big main event last night with Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, and Braun, which was at an unusual 10 minutes to 10, starting right before the last segment. So let's move on to that main event. Let's talk about Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman. Your thoughts? Go ahead.
It was cool to see Lesnar just show up. Wasn't expecting that. Was unannounced, so that was cool. I was hoping for a little bit more out of the segment. I thought, Paulie does his thing, and, that was great. He put everybody over in the match and put over Lesnar and, talked about his options should he lose the title, but said that's not going to happen. But I would have loved it if, Lesnar would have got in Angle's face about setting this match and maybe even teased something in the future for a match between them if Angle's to return or something like that, down the road at WrestleMania or whatever. Would have been great to see, Lesnar in some sort of action. Maybe the other three wrestlers come out, whatever it is. But, for me, it started off hot because of the crowd, but the segment itself was just kind of your typical Paulie promo. And, good to see Lesnar back in his, Angle back in his hometown, getting rightfully deserved pop from the home crowd. But didn't do a whole lot for me. I think they could have done more with this segment. I thought the match, the Braun, Roman, and Joe match was great. Pay-per-view caliber match. I mean, they beat the hell out of each other. Roman gets a win back over Joe in the end. It was a great preview for their match to come at SummerSlam with obviously Lesnar being the fourth. And, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good old-fashioned slobber knocker, as Jim Ross would say.
Well, first of all, you made a couple great points. It drives me nuts. Brock comes out. First of all, he's not announced to be there. Arguably, over the weekend, when Jon Jones beats good old DC, everyone is talking about Brock Lesnar. Who shows up on Monday Night Raw? Brock Lesnar. So there's that added element. Now, granted, they should not mention anything about Jon Jones, but if they did, it would have been nice. And there was a small comment, obviously, by Paul when he mentions he has ultimate options. But I hate when they waste Brock Lesnar like this. Why not show up ringside during this main event? He's already in town. He's living somewhere, God knows where, in God's country, up north. Believed to be somewhere in Canada, as a matter of fact. So he's traveling all the way, coming down to Pittsburgh. He did do a house show against Samoa Joe this past weekend at the Joe Louis Arena. So he's in town. Why not use him? It drives me nuts when they don't use him as much, especially with 3 weeks away, and they're trying to really build this SummerSlam. And there are a lot of great names in SummerSlam, but my feelings are not behind some of these matches that we've talked about leading up to today's show. Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, Braun. It did have a pay-per-view feel. Outside the ring was the best part, without a doubt. And Roman spears Samoa Joe and gets the pin. It was fun to see them actually take this main event that's been promoted and use it to kick off that last segment. I was a little surprised by it, but it was good. We didn't have to wait 3 hours for the main event. Let's get to the real main event last night. Big Show versus Cass. So Enzo enters now. I'm starting to get a little Enzo fatigue, to be honest. It seems like it's the same rhetoric. He does not evolve as much. He's phenomenal on the microphone. He's a great character. He's just not evolving at all. It's starting to drive me nuts. Cass looked very tough. He looked very good. 45 years old, this Big Show. Best shape of his career. It's a disqualification. Then Big Show knocks out Cass. Okay. So now they're continuing this build, I'm sure, for SummerSlam. I don't even know if this makes it to the main card, even though it's 4 hours long. I don't think there's valid interest. But I do applaud the fact they're giving Big Cass some major, major moments. He opened Raw last week. And then closes it this week. Give me your perspective on Big Cass. Do you enjoy this push that's going on right now? And is he becoming believable as that tough heel, 7 feet tall?
Yeah, I mean, he's believable and all. It's just, it's too bad that this storyline has already reached its peak. It's already climaxed, and now we're on the downside of the climax. So the move too soon. You should have drugged this out before we had, multiple matches with Big Show and Cass. It's been the same thing for 3 weeks in a row now. So to put it on the main event, maybe it's a little bit different, but overall, this story's sort of dead in the water for me. It peaked, and now it's on the downturn for me. Typically the crescendo should be at SummerSlam. That's the first time that all this buildup, and the first time that we get to actually see Big Show and Cass one-on-one. But instead, we get it on Raw in an average match they threw at the very end. And it was pretty much the same thing, different setup, but the same people involved for the last 3 weeks. And it just sort of gotten tired, man. I like everybody involved. I think this is great for Cass. Obviously, he's getting a big push out of this. I agree with you on Enzo. It's gotten a little tired. He hasn't involved. I don't know where he goes from here after this feud is over with Cass. I don't know if he can survive on his own. He's kind of a Scotty 2 Hottie character, bit of comedy, good on a mic, goofy in the ring. And, that has a shelf life. So tonight I didn't think his promo was great. The banana references, it was just kind of, man, it's just really gotten stale for me, man.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It's jumped the shark, in my opinion. If they're going to have these 2 7-footers, we don't ever see this that often. Really, there've been a lot of 7-footers in the history of wrestling, but when you come to the caliber of the Big Show, who's been around 25 years almost, when you have somebody, Big Cass, who literally is a very young man and has a very bright future. They've been giving this away. We've already seen them sized up. We've seen them wrestle. And I'm supposed to get excited for this. How is this going to be any different? Are they going to go 15 or 20 minutes at SummerSlam? No. This could be a kickoff show. And this was a wasted opportunity, in my opinion. You have Big Cass in New York. You have Enzo, who literally will sound like everyone in attendance for the most part. This should have been a slow burn to SummerSlam. And if it was a slow burn to SummerSlam, then we could have got a couple pay-per-views out of that. But I think this feud, unfortunately, would probably go on past SummerSlam, because what do we do with these individuals that are participating? Okay, one of the common themes me and you talk about is this 205 Live. We talk about cruiserweights. We talk about some of the disappointment and how we don't care. This was one of the best showcases of the cruiserweight division that I've seen, maybe in the last 6 months. Was phenomenal. We had Swan, Alexander, Tozawa versus Nice, TJP, and Daivari, and it looked phenomenal. It was quick. We saw some unbelievable moves. Finally, it paid off. In my opinion, I thought it was one of the best showcases they've had in 6 months, and I actually got excited for this division. Unfortunately, this was 3-on-3, and the majority of all their matches obviously are 1-on-1, with next week having a situation on the show where we're still going to try to find out who faces Neville at SummerSlam. But I thoroughly enjoyed this cruiserweight division match.
I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as you. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, there was some big moves. But I'm just, hey, I'll tell you one thing. I'm happy to see the purple ropes gone. I noticed that a week or two ago, but they're gone. and hopefully for good. I like that they're just more integrated in the show without those purple robes, and I think it even elevates the division. I understand why they did it, to set them apart, sort of build the brand, but I don't know. I'm not really into any of these guys' story. They're good performers in the ring, not into any of the cruiserweight stories, and that's not my fault. You know, that's the stories being told. So it seems, you know, we've had this Tozawa storyline for a little bit, but it's kind of been the same thing. And I just don't have enough backstory on the other guys to really care. So I'm struggling, you know, with the cruiserweight division. I do like watching the wrestling involved, but there have been some very bad storylines and just some storylines that have been left unfinished. And overall, I'm just still looking for something to really get into in the division. They got me with the wrestling, but I just need a storyline hook that I care about, and I've yet to see that. You know, whatever the match becomes for SummerSlam, I'm sure it'll be good. You know, I think the guys in the ring tonight are all great wrestlers, and obviously Neville, you know, one of the best. So I look forward to the match, but like I said, I'm just having a hard time really getting invested into any of the storylines in this division. I'm still struggling there.
No, first and foremost, I've completely kind of washed my hands of the Cruiserweight division, the 205 Live. I think, I mean, if I was in charge, I would probably rebrand it or delete it completely and let some of these individual talents go up against guys who are a little bit bigger. But I was thoroughly enjoyed by this match. I'm leaning toward Tozawa at some point to face Neville. I think now with the branding of Titus Worldwide, with the T-shirts of Titus Worldwide, let's capitalize on this momentum. And if anybody's over out of these guys, which is not saying a lot, it would be Tozawa. I was very disappointed when Austin Aries left. I heard there could be a potential from him returning, but not anytime soon. Let's move on to Miz TV. Top of the hour, Jason Jordan. He's the special guest. They're obviously pulling out all the stops with Jason Jordan, as they should. And he gets a verbal beating from The Miz. Starts attacking his father, who he refers to as Kurt, not his dad or Pops. And then obviously he attacks Miz, and I like it. I mean, first of all, Miz has now moved on. We still don't know. It could be at some point we thought it might have been a Seth Ambrose situation with the Miz leading up to SummerSlam, loving the Miz Taraj. But if anybody could put someone over, it's going to be the Miz right now for Jason Jordan. But I have to say, it was cringeworthy when I heard him speak on the microphone. He's got to improve those promo skills. He's got so much talent everywhere else, and now he's getting this golden opportunity where he has some of the unsmart fans somewhat believing this weird storyline. And when you hear it often and more, even though you know it's not real, but subconsciously, it's part of the story. It blends into reality. And yeah, one thing was, it was just a little bit unbearable with him talking, but it was good to see him in there. Good to see something different out of Jason Jordan. And it's great that he's getting paired up with one of the very best, a fan of both of ours, The Miz.
Yeah, man. You know, I think this was the right move for Jason Jordan. I think throwing him into a storyline with The Miz where this is obviously going after tonight, I think is a smart move. You got a guy who's great on the microphone in The Miz, and Jordan, who's not as well versed yet, you know, and for the most part, Jordan kept it short and sweet, which he needs to do for a while till he gets more comfortable and more into his own character, or discovers who that character ultimately becomes. I thought it was interesting that they mentioned the booze. It reminded me of something you said the other week about this whole Rocky Maivia situation that Jordan could be in. You know, it looks like they're trying to put him over as a face. And, you know, ultimately, he got just as many boos as Cheers tonight. and, from what I saw. And, we certainly could be headed for a situation with like that. And that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing.
No.
I think a squeaky clean personality like he's got would make an awesome heel. I think he'd be ultimately better as a heel than a face. I think they have to try and put him over as a face at this point with the news of his father, and considering that Angle's a face and he is this sort of all-American guy, So I like everything they're doing with him so far. This is, the complete opposite of the big Cass show. Well, we're seeing a slow build. Last week we got to see his in-ring debut on Raw as a singles competitor. This week we got to see him one-on-one, and he got some decent amount of time, with The Miz. Now, The Miz carried this segment. I would like to see a bit more intensity from Jordan, moving forward. He just not really as charismatic as he needs to be or probably can be. I think that'll probably come out over time. And obviously The Miz is overly charismatic. And so, it's tough to compete there on that type of stage. But this was the perfect segment for him, to further his storyline. And hopefully this continues this feud with The Miz, which would be great to see at SummerSlam. Great for him and something to build on. Awesome to build on if he can pick up the title, obviously.
You're listening to the Code Break with Brent Coder here on the Wrestling Morning Show. Follow Coder at CodeRock874 on Twitter. That's CodeRock874. Couple more things, Coder, because I know you have to go. First of all, they dropped Samson from Elias Samson, the name. Looked great. And then gets the biggest reaction of who wants to walk with Elias. I know he's not over in your eyes, but I'm loving this. And this is how they start creating the heel. Very slow. And I'm enjoying this. And then we see Kalisto. Okay, he gets squashed. Elias looks great. We're going to move on from that unless you want to talk about it. But from the very beginning, as Sheamus and Cesaro have taken some time off inside the ring, we've seen a lot of the Hardy Boys, Gallows and Anderson, and the Revival. I assume this will be a triple tag team competition for the number one contendership at SummerSlam. And because Sheamus and Cesaro could go, I'm feeling Sheamus, Cesaro with Rollins and Ambrose for SummerSlam as of now. And they're trying to put every superstar possible and cramming them in. Where do we go from the Seth Rollins and Ambrose relationship? Is there going to be a heel turn? Is this just, let's get through SummerSlam and we'll figure stuff out? Because I'm kind of confused by this.
Man, I feel the same way. I don't know. It's like, and these promos are cutting them just, this bromance that they have is just, I don't know, man. I'm not really feeling it, but, the struggle, are they going to get back together? Do they have each other's backs? Can Rollins be trusted? If it gets them back in the ring together for a match, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, it's worth a couple weeks of this, I guess. I'd like to see them in a match actually against, Cesaro and Sheamus for the titles. I think that'd be an awesome match. So we've seen enough of the Hardy Boys against them, and I think of the teams, in the division, if we consider them, let's consider them part of the division for a minute. If they become a tag team, I think that's the most interesting match there. So I'd like to see it for that reason. I don't really care for the bromance promos all over Raw tonight, but it is what it is. They have a history and they're trying to figure it out, and it all makes sense storyline wise. It gives you a reason to care. So credit for that, but just not something I'm totally interested in.
Well, yeah. First, I am very thankful Ambrose has moved on from the Miz feud. That just went on way too long. I didn't know what was going to go on with Seth coming off the last pay-per-view with Bray. That's over. And speaking of Bray, we've talked about this several times when we've realized Bray will be facing Finn Balor, the Demon, Elements of the Demon came out tonight with Finn Balor. I'm starting to get excited about this. They got 3 weeks to build this, and now they have 3 weeks to legitimately say to everyone, okay, Finn's got to tap into the Demon. Over the last couple months, I've applauded Bray Wyatt for really kind of coming out and giving very simple, to the point promos. Now he's starting to go back in the day, Bray, where we really were a little bit confused by some of the promo work he's been doing. But I think the God versus the Demon is a great matchup for SummerSlam. And I'm excited for it. There's no doubt in your mind, Coder, we see the Demon at SummerSlam.
And I hope so. We haven't seen him in a long time. Last couple pay-per-views, we haven't seen the Demon. He's got every reason to bring the Demon out now, and that would be awesome. I think that's the whole point of this matchup. I'm a fan of both these guys. I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan, so I'm really looking forward to this one. We haven't talked as the headlines have been dominated by other storylines, but this is one that I'm pretty excited about. I think this is going to be a great matchup. I think a feud for maybe even years to come. When you've got a Demon and a God involved in the same world, the chances of them colliding often are good. So this could be the kickoff of what becomes a feud for years to come, a la Undertaker and Kane type of scenario. So I'm really looking forward to this one. It doesn't get enough of the spotlight, but this is a big match for both guys, and hopefully we do get to see the Demon.
So we know that Bayley will be taking on Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam. And there is this friendship between Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. Now, Bayley's best friend on Raw, obviously, is Sasha Banks. I'm sure we'll see Sasha at SummerSlam, but what capacity will we see Sasha in? I could ultimately see finally what everyone's waiting for, and probably what needs to be done because it's not working out as a face, that Sasha turns heel. She wasn't there last night on Monday Night Raw, but I assume that's the direction that they need to go to. I would love to see it as a fan. That's how we kind of fell in love with her on NXT as the boss, the heel Sasha Banks. I think it could possibly make sense, and there's a lot of directions they could go into on Monday Night Raw if Sasha turned heel.
Well, I'd love to see that. I think, she's great at both. To be honest, she's a pretty good face. I think she was maybe a bit better as a heel, but she can get over either way with her gimmick. It works either way, and so she just. I'm still blown away that she's not in this match. I don't want to see Bayley against Alexa again. The first couple matches were just not that great, and Bayley is thus far she has yet to prove that she could potentially even beat Alexa. She needs to bring out her viciousness and just, it needs to be a little bit more over the top. She was a little bit tougher, or came off a little bit tougher tonight. But, it's just not there for me yet. I would have rather seen Sasha in this matchup against Alexa for SummerSlam. But, like you said, maybe she gets involved in some way. Maybe she costs Bayley and becomes, goes the heel route. It should be interesting, but they're certainly not going to leave her off the card. Something will be there for her and potentially Nia, whether they have their own one-on-one matchup or, they get involved in this Alexa and Bayley championship match. We will see them both in some capacity. So, it'd be cool to see her turn heel again. We haven't seen that in a while, but I'm a fan either way.
Okay, it's that time where I have to ask you some of the Twitter poll questions that I've put out. Here's our first question. Was this the best cruiserweight match showcase in the last 6 months? Your options are yes, no. 205 has jumped the shark. You get 3 options right there. Coder, your answer?
Well, 205 has jumped the shark, man. I don't know if it was the best match I've seen because, I don't know that I've seen everyone because I might change the channel from Raw to Raw depending on what the cruiserweight matchup might be. But it was a pretty good match tonight. The best, I don't know. But, I'm kind of over the whole 205 brand. It needs some evolution. Getting rid of the purple ropes is a good step.
Okay, so we asked, In our next question, curious fans, who was the most awkward on the mic at the beginning of their first solo push? Jason Jordan, Roman Reigns, Zack Ryder, or Baron Corbin?
Wow. That's a great question. And
thank you.
Equally,
and not only that, when I tell you the results for this, you're going to laugh, but go ahead. Jason Jordan, Roman Reigns, Zack Ryder, Baron Corbin.
I don't know if I remember Ryder's, first, and depending on the week, Baron Corbin's can sometimes still feel like he was giving his first promo. Sometimes they're good. They're sort of hit or miss. So I imagine his first one, although I don't remember it offhand, was pretty bad. Reigns was bad for well over a year on the microphone. I think that Jordan has potential here, so I'm going to go with Reigns as the worst, just because it was a very prolonged before he finally got there. And now he's, borderline amazing at promos, although they're more heel than face.
Oh, he gives the best heel promos of anybody on the entire roster, to be perfectly honest with you. So it was a three-way tie, literally a three-way tie between Jordan Reigns and Corbin at 29%, and it should be changing momentarily because still a full day left on that. All right, let's move on to some of the other polls we asked last night. Well, if the dream matchup ever occurred, who wins between Brock and Jon Bones Jones? The options, obviously, are Lesnar, Jon Jones, fight never happens, and not a UFC fan.
I could see this fight happening if the money's right. I could see Lesnar definitely getting in the ring, especially if he's not the one that has to cut the weight. And, he's got 40 pounds on Jon Jones.
Right.
So either Jon Jones is going to have to bulk up or he's in trouble. Because if Lesnar gets him on the ground, when you got 40 extra pounds on top of you, Jon Jones ain't getting up without a completely bloody face. So unless Jones is able to take him down from a stand-up position very early on, I would think that he would just get crushed here just due to the 40 pounds is a lot of weight in the UFC ring. So I got my money on Lesnar on this one all the way.
Well, as of now, even though the polls are still open, it's at a deadlock between Lesnar and Jon Jones. Fans, the quickest superstar for you to accept on their new gimmick or turn. Big Cass as a heel, Jinder as the Maharaja, Elias as the Drifter, or Corbin as the Money in the Bank winner. The quickest superstar for you to accept their new gimmick or turn.
I think the Maharaja, man, it was really easily accepted. It's pretty well explained. It's been done, obviously, the foreign heel, but it was a very quick build-up that all made sense. It was very surprising at the beginning, but he quickly took it and ran with it. And I think he has earned the spot that he's in. Not necessarily when he got it, but over the past couple months, he has definitely earned the position he's in. He has become a legitimate superstar in a very short amount of time. From nothing to the champion in a very short amount of time. A very believable champion. While I'd like to see him evolve a little bit more, he's still establishing his character and building layers on it. But he's done an incredible job thus far in my eyes.
Jinder as the Maharaja, 35%. And pretty much a tie between Big Cass and Elias. So now the last...
Yeah, those guys got a way to go. That's still new, so
right.
Those guys got a way to go. But, they're potentially on their way. So it'll be interesting, especially Elias. I'm actually surprised that it's lasted this long, to be honest. He was getting some real X-Pac heat to begin with, and tonight he got some cheers, and the booers have become legit. So he's a polarizing figure established tonight. Mark it down. This was the biggest night for him. Even getting cheers when he's supposed to be a heel was good because he's starting to get over, and good for him. I'm not a huge fan, but you know, putting in the work and the character's starting to resonate.
Okay, the last question. Brock Lesnar on Raw. Hints of the Demon Finn Balor. Roman, Joe, Braun looking great. What is your excitement level for SummerSlam? The options, 100%. Depends on the next 3 weeks in the feuds. Not excited as I should be. Or too many three-way and four-way matches.
Well, I'm excited, but I'll probably say there is too many three-way, four-way matches, but you know, I think we've talked about it for a few weeks now. We've seen it coming. There's a lot of people to get within, you know, on both rosters within 4 hours. And this is a premiere show, so they got to do their best to get everybody in. But I'm not disappointed in the matches that, you know, we might see 3 or 4 teams in. I think they're going to be good matchups. Obviously, the main event with Lesnar, Roman, Joe, and Strowman should be epic. So I can't hate that, but there's definitely probably a few too many.
Well, that's exactly what the winner was. Too many three-way and four-way matches. And then a lot of people said 100% they are excited. Coder, I tell you what, thank you for your time this morning. Hope we could talk tomorrow. We're going to be getting excited for SmackDown later on in the night, and hopefully we'll talk about it. But Coder, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You got it, man. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. All right, that was Coder. Follow him at Code Rock 874. That's Code Rock 874.
It's the Code Break with Brent Coder. The Wrestling Morning Show with Mardel. Live on Broadcast Row.
All right, it's 10 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. It's always great to talk to Coder. We still got some of our Twitter polls up right now. And I appreciate everybody, some of the new friends I've met on Twitter who've been following Live Morning Show. Got about 6 minutes left till we say goodbye. Now, this show will go on demand probably about a good hour after we conclude the program. So definitely listen to the show if you missed any of it. Some of you guys are at work. You can't listen. That's fine. Always try to make this work friendly. That's kind of the goal of what we try to do here on the program. Some other news that we like to talk about. There was all these pictures and reports of Paige backstage last night. Nothing was 100% confirmed. Now, the reporter was from Pittsburgh. We don't know what the actual date of the video or the photos were. We do expect a Paige return at some point. Obviously, she's all over the internet about some of her problems in her personal life. Unfortunately, that's been dominating some of the Paige news and not so much about her health, her recovery, and her return. One of the biggest stories to come out, if you missed it earlier, was Jon Jones defeating Daniel Cormier in the UFC this Saturday. And of course, he calls out Brock Lesnar.
Jon Jones with
Brock Lesnar. If you want to know what it feels like to get your ass kicked by a guy who weighs 40 pounds less than you, meet me in the octagon.
So that was the sound clip after he gives an unbelievable, respectful announcement and interview and shoot on Daniel Cormier, telling the world that he is the man. He is a great person. He's unbelievable. He's a legend. Switches directions and then calls out Brock Lesnar. And simply the reason behind it was he wants a super fight. He wants a big payday. And why not him? And he's got a great point. Would this ever happen? Don't know. I think they capitalized phenomenally last night by just bringing Brock Lesnar out. And Paul E. mentioning he's got the ultimate decision to make. Now, Lesnar was in a house show at the Joe Louis Arena against Samoa Joe. Brock Lesnar going to a house show. That's phenomenal if you bought tickets. Not expecting much. And then it's Lesnar and Samoa Joe. And that was coming off the heels of the Jon Jones call-out. Congratulations to John Cena as well. It was announced yesterday. He will be in the spin-off Bumblebee movie from the Transformers franchise. Now, this is going to be a prequel starring Haley Steinfeld. Takes place in the 1980s. Now, reports have it that Bumblebee takes on Aquaman. It's not 100% confirmed, but that's what it's been saying online. So there's maybe a shred of truth. Now, Cena's going to be coming in the new movie, The Pact, April 2018. Left for a little while, filmed it, stars Leslie Mann and Ike Barinholtz. It's a comedy about parents who are trying to stop their kids from having sex on prom night. It's not clear what character he plays. It would be cool to see Cena as a dad. So congrats to John. Transformers prequel. And they're adding Aquaman in this. That should be pretty fun. Now, tomorrow's a big show. Now, obviously, tomorrow, I think the table is set for SummerSlam, especially on the SmackDown brand. Tonight, we see Nakamura. We see John Cena. This is a pay-per-view type of match. I'm very excited for it. Now, SummerSlam, as it shapes up, we already know the big main event. Lesnar, Roman, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, Naomi and Natalya, Alexa Bliss versus Bayley. We have Neville who's going to face off against Daivari or Tozawa. And, of course, Jinder takes on Cena or Shinsuke Nakamura. This entire summer, I've talked about John Cena, the great American hero, facing off against Jinder Mahal. Now, I mean, this could happen. I'm not even expecting Cena to go over by no means. But you want to take Jinder to another level, you have him go against Cena, just for the build-up. Now, if it's Jinder versus Nakamura, you have two guys who are still very weak on that microphone. And obviously the crowd will be pro Shinsuke, which is fine. Does Shinsuke get the strap? Is there a Japanese tour we don't know about? All eyes will be on SmackDown, I'm sure, for tonight. What is Randy Orton doing? How does he play into SummerSlam? We should find that out. The saga between AJ and Kevin Owens will continue. Where does Rusev go from here? Let's bring back Breeze Angle. Let's find out who's been attacking them. Is the feud going on between Kanellis and Zayn? Will it continue? So we got a lot of things to go over tomorrow. It's going to be a good show. Well, it's been a very fun show today. We accomplished a lot. It was kind of a lackluster Raw, to be honest with you. Not much to talk about, but we got to the bottom line on a couple things. Obviously, it was worth the watch to see Brock Lesnar. It was worth the watch to see Jason Jordan come out on Miz TV. Still the saga between Dean and Seth. Where do we go from here? We'll find out next week. Big show and big cast. That's just going to be a continuation into SummerSlam. Elias gets the biggest pop of his career. Drops the last name in his hometown. And, of course, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman. Great to see those guys together. The show will be on demand very soon. So hopefully you guys can listen to the show. Join the conversation every Tuesday and Wednesday morning. Follow us on Twitter for more information at Live Morning Show. I'm Mardel Brennan, your host. You can just call me Mardel. I'm on Twitter at Mardel Brennan. We're on Facebook at The Wrestling Morning Show. The website's thewrestlingmorningshow.com. We're available to stream. Get all on demand. iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. So hopefully you join this faction that we have every single morning. Join the momentum that's begun in the beginning of the summer. I want to thank everybody at Broadcast Row, the network that provides the show. I want to thank Brent Coder for the code break. Follow him at Code Rock 874. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening, and be good.